So I'm curious about what it does for you. And you describe it as an old friend who has never betrayed you.
I think, it calms me down.
From the trailblazing musicians of the 60s to the chart-topping stars of today, the history of country music is filled with legendary Chainsmokers who brought a rebellious spirit and a gritty sound to the genre. Join us as we uncover 20 most iconic Chainsmokers in country music history and how they changed the face of country music forever. Number 20, Willie Nelson.
Rolled up, just started rolling up Boulder, and then my lungs gave out on me. I had emphysema, and the lungs collapsed.
Willie Nelson entered this world on April 29, 1933, in Abbott, Texas. His grandparents took him in when his parents departed, sparking his passion for music from a young age. Engaging in songwriting and guitar playing as a youngster, he eventually became part of a band during his high school years. After a stint in the Air Force, he made the move to Nashville to chase his dream of a music career. Initially facing challenges, Nelson worked behind the scenes as a songwriter for various artists. He gained notice for hits such as Crazy for Patsy Cline and Nightlife for Ray Price, but his solo career did not truly blossom until the 1970s. It was during this time that he pioneered the outlaw country genre with acclaimed albums like Red-Headed Stranger. Nelson's unique and authentic approach to music distinguished him from his peers, solidifying his status as a revered figure in the world of country music. Nelson was well known for his smoking habit, starting with tobacco and eventually transitioning to marijuana, which he promoted enthusiastically. While smoking became a defining part of his persona, it took a toll on his lungs, prompting him to give up marijuana in 2019, though he still indulged in other methods. Despite this change, Nelson remains vibrant in the music scene, showing that his decades of smoking haven't hindered him significantly. Now, guess who else had the same smoking habits like Nelson, and how was he affected by it? Let's find out. Number 19, Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash came into the world on February 26, 1932, in Kingsland, Arkansas. Growing up in difficult financial circumstances during the time of the Great Depression, he discovered comfort in music and singing gospel songs. After serving in the Air Force, he relocated to Memphis and inked a contract with Sun Records. Cash's distinct, deep voice and rebellious image propelled him to stardom in the world of country music. Songs such as I Walk the Line and Ring of Fire solidified his legacy. His songs frequently delved into the themes of addiction, heartache, and salvation, connecting with a wide audience. Smoking was always present in Cash's life. His deep, rough voice was a result of years of cigarette smoking, which also led to his health troubles such as pneumonia and breathing difficulties. Cash eventually gave up smoking, but the damage had already taken its toll. Despite his health battles, he kept making music and released some of his most powerful work later in his life. His talent for turning suffering into art solidified his legacy as one of the most influential storytellers in the history of country music. Number 18, Merle Haggard. Merle Haggard entered the world on April 6, 1937 in Oildale, California. The start of his life was tumultuous, as his father passed away during his youth, and he often found himself in trouble, resulting in some time spent in San Quentin prison. Following his emancipation, he transformed his path through the power of music, composing tunes that resonated with the laboring population. In the 1960s, Haggard rose to fame in the country music industry with hits such as Mama Tried and Okie from Muskogee. His songs resonated with the experiences of everyday people, solidifying his reputation as a highly esteemed artist. Nevertheless, Haggard spent a lot of his life smoking heavily. His gravelly speaking voice was influenced in part by the many years he spent smoking cigarettes. Regrettably, his smoking habit eventually led to him developing lung cancer later on in life. Despite struggling with health problems, he eventually succumbed to his illness on his 79th birthday in 2016. His cigarette addiction greatly impacted his deteriorating health. However, he continued to perform until his last breath, leaving behind a lasting legacy that continues to impact the world of country music to this day. Number 17, Waylon Jennings. Waylon Jennings, born on June 15, 1937, in Littlefield, Texas, began playing the guitar at a young age and left school to focus on his musical career. During the 1950s, he formed a close friendship with Buddy Holly, who recruited him as a bass player. Jennings was originally scheduled to be a passenger on the tragic flight that claimed Holly's life in 1959, but decided to surrender his seat, a decision that weighed heavily on him for a long time. Jennings relocated to Nashville and faced challenges due to the music industry's influence on his work. By the 1970s, he emerged as a prominent figure in the outlaw country scene, deviating from the mainstream Nashville sound with successful songs such as Good-Hearted Woman and Luckenbach, Texas. Known for his distinctive baritone voice and rebellious persona, he gained a legendary status. Smoking played a significant role in Jennings' lifestyle. He was famous for indulging in both cigarettes and substances, resulting in his distinctive hoarse voice and tough image. Nevertheless, the effects of smoking eventually caught up with him, leading to the development of diabetes and forcing him to give up the habit out of fear for his well-being. Despite facing health challenges, Jennings remained a key figure in the world of country music until his passing in 2002. His defiance and distinctive musical style continue to influence contemporary artists. Number 16. Kris Kristofferson. Kris Kristofferson was born in Brownsville, Texas on June 22, 1936, into a family with a military background. He was anticipated to pursue a career in the military like his father, and he started off on that path by performing well academically and becoming a helicopter pilot. Nevertheless, his love for music compelled him to move to Nashville, where he took on a job as a janitor at Columbia Studios while attempting to establish himself in the music industry. Kristofferson was known for his undeniable skill in writing songs. He created favorites such as Me and Bobby McGee and Help Me Make It Through the Night, which led to his successful career as a singer. His rugged charm matched his outlaw country persona with a deep, weathered voice that captivated audiences. However, this distinctive sound was the result of years of heavy smoking. Kristofferson was always seen with a cigarette, and this habit eventually took a toll on his voice. As a result, his vocals became rougher over time, causing him to struggle to sing with the same clarity he once had. Even though he remained in the spotlight for many years, his smoking played a role in the weakening of his singing abilities. While he excelled in his profession, his addiction had a negative impact on his well-being. In the end, he decided to quit smoking, but the harm was already irreversible. His once silky voice now resembled a rough reminder of his earlier days of defiance. So who else got their voice damaged by this rebellious act? Let's find out. Number 15. Dwight Yoakam. Dwight Yoakam entered the world on October 23, 1956, in Pikeville, Kentucky. He spent his formative years in Ohio, where his love for classic country and rock and roll merged to shape his distinct musical style. Disillusioned with Nashville's mainstream country music scene, Yoakam relocated to Los Angeles, where he honed a honky-tonk sound that combined elements of traditional country with rockabilly. His first album, Guitars, Cadillacs, etc., skyrocketed in popularity, propelling him to fame. Yoakam's appearance was as significant as his musical talent. His slim-fit denim, cowboy hat, and edgy attitude set him apart. Another factor that enhanced his persona was his fondness for cigars. While other country artists favored cigarettes, Yoakam chose cigars and was frequently spotted with one. This habit contributed to his distinctive look, bolstering his rugged, self-reliant image. Even though cigars did not immediately change his voice like cigarettes, his constant exposure to smoke eventually took a toll. His once clear vocals developed a slight roughness, yet they retained their strength. Nevertheless, he excelled in both music and acting, demonstrating that his rugged image was just as important to his charm as his remarkable voice. Number 14. Keith Whitley. Keith Whitley was born on July 1, 1954, in Sandy Hook, Kentucky. He began his musical journey at a tender age, drawing inspiration from the bluegrass greats. His unique and touching vocals distinguished him, leading him to relocate to Nashville and earn prominence in the country music scene. During the 1980s, he emerged as a promising talent, with chart-topping songs such as Don't Close Your Eyes and When You Say Nothing at All. Whitley had a mesmerizing voice that was both rich and filled with sorrow, yet there was a hidden struggle with personal demons. Although his battle with alcohol was widely recognized, his addiction to cigarettes also played a significant role in his life. Smoking became a regular habit for him, contributing to the strain on his vocal cords. The harmful combination of smoking and drinking resulted in major health issues, but he persisted in advancing his professional journey. Unfortunately, his destructive behaviors eventually led to his demise in 1989 when he was only 34 years old. Although alcohol played a major role in his premature death, Smoking also played a part in his decline. Despite his brief yet significant professional journey, he is remembered as a legend, and his voice continues to captivate fans despite the consequences of his lifestyle. Number 13. Tanya Tucker. Tanya Tucker entered the world on October 10, 1958, in Seminole, Texas. Even in her early years, she showed exceptional talent, achieving fame with her first successful song, Delta Dawn, when she was only 13. Instead of fizzling out like many child stars, Tanya Tucker evolved into a dominant force in the world of country music, producing numerous successful songs over the years. Known for her bold and powerful voice, she stood out as one of the most unique female country artists of her time. Tucker has long been associated with a rebellious and carefree persona, with smoking being a prominent aspect of her image. Whether she was performing or not, she was frequently spotted with a cigarette. Her smoking habit added to her tough, rough-around-the-edges brand, showing her unapologetic and authentic self. As time passed, smoking began to affect her voice, giving it a deeper and more rugged quality. While this transformation suited her outlaw country vibe, it also raised worries about her well-being. Even with the consequences, Tucker persisted in her performances, demonstrating her ability to captivate the audience with her strong aura. Her career has stood the test of time, although smoking has certainly had an impact. Despite her gravelly voice, she retains her status as one of the iconic women in the history of country music. Number 12. George Strait. George Strait entered the world on May 18, 1952, in Poteet, Texas. Raised in a family that worked on a ranch, he discovered his passion for country music early on. During his college years, he honed his musical skills by performing with a band before joining the U.S. Army, where he entertained fellow servicemen. Following his military service, he dedicated himself to a career in music, eventually signing a record contract in the early 1980s. His first hit single, Unwound, catapulted him to fame, solidifying his position as one of the highest-selling country musicians in history. Although George Strait has always projected a wholesome image, he has been seen smoking on occasion throughout his life. Despite not drawing attention to this habit like some of his colleagues, cigarettes were a consistent part of his daily routine, especially during his early career. Whether on tour, behind the scenes, or when taking a break, smoking was a subtle element in his life. Nonetheless, he appeared to have control over it, and it never seemed to impact his popular, smooth voice noticeably. Strait's voice remained powerful throughout his lengthy career in country music. Unlike many other smokers in the industry, despite any potential effects from smoking, he was able to uphold his vocal strength, demonstrating that dedication and caution are key in preserving a legendary voice. Number 11. Travis Tritt. Travis Tritt, born in Marietta, Georgia, on February 9, 1963, found his love for music in his teenage years. Influenced by country and southern rock, he learned to play guitar and write songs. In the late 1980s, he became well known after signing with Warner Brothers Records and releasing his first album, Country Club. His songs like Help Me Hold On and Here's a Quarter, Call Someone Who Cares, established him as a key figure in country music. He stood out from other country singers by choosing cigars over cigarettes, which added to his rebellious and relaxed image. Despite the potential risks, his preference for cigars did not affect his powerful voice, but instead added a roughness to his singing. This did not stop him from delivering energetic performances, showing that his love for cigars did not hold him back in any way. Number 10. Johnny Paycheck. Johnny Paycheck, born on May 31, 1938 in Greenfield, Ohio, showed musical talent early in life. After serving in the Navy, he moved to Nashville to pursue a music career. His well-known songs, Take This Job and Shove It, connected with blue-collar workers in the country genre. Paycheck had a rebellious lifestyle and smoked heavily throughout his life. His voice became rough as he got older due to his smoking habit. Despite his success in country music, his health deteriorated in later years because of smoking and other unhealthy behaviors. If this seems unbelievable, then you are about to be swept off your feet by the next on our list. Number 9. Ronnie VanZant. Ronnie VanZant came into the world on January 15, 1948, in the sunny state of Florida, specifically in Jacksonville. Taking on the double role of lead vocalist and main lyricist for Lynyrd Skynyrd, he left an indelible mark in the realm of Southern rock, a music style with strong roots in country melodies. Through iconic tracks such as Sweet Home Alabama and Freebird, he played a key role in shaping the musical landscape of the 1970s by fusing together elements of rock and country music narratives. VanZant was well known for his chain-smoking habit, often seen with a cigarette in hand. He would smoke during performances, while recording music, and even during casual hangouts with friends. His smoking habit became synonymous with his persona, alongside his distinctive voice and trademark sunglasses. Although it added to his tough image, it also played a role in the gravelly quality of his vocals, which endeared him to fans. His life was sadly ended by a plane crash in 1977, prematurely putting an end to his career in the music industry. Despite his untimely death, his legacy continues to have a significant impact on the genres of rock and country. If he had not tragically passed away, it is probable that smoking would have eventually negative consequences on his health and vocal abilities. However, during his brief time on Earth, he exemplified the defiant and rugged essence of Southern music, often seen with a cigarette in hand. Number 8. Hank Williams Jr.
They strapped me to the outside of a helicopter. That ride was pretty rough, cold.
Hank Williams Jr. was born in Shreveport, Louisiana on May 26, 1949. His father, Hank Williams Sr., was a famous country music star who influenced his son's musical career. Hank Jr. followed in his father's footsteps by performing his music from a young age. He recorded his father's songs and went on tours as a teenager. Over time, Hank Jr. incorporated rock, blues, and southern country elements into his music to create a unique sound. He adopted a rugged outlaw persona, often seen smoking cigarettes or cigars. His smoking habit affected his voice, giving it a rough quality that suited his country music style. Despite health risks, he continued smoking to maintain his rebellious image. His smoking addiction caused health problems, but remained a defining aspect of his identity, similar to his music. Number 7. Charlie Daniels. Charlie Daniels was born in Wilmington, North Carolina on October 28, 1936. As a versatile musician, he began mastering the guitar, fiddle, and banjo during his early years. In the 1950s, he was already showcasing his musical skills in various local groups, and by the 1970s, he had established himself as a dominant force in the country rock genre. Through his popular song, "The Devil Went Down to Georgia," he gained widespread fame by mixing country, rock, and blues to create a dynamic sound. Daniels was seldom spotted without a cigar in his hand, which enhanced his persona as a Southern outlaw. His smoking habit added to his image as a seasoned musician with a tough exterior, whether performing on stage, being interviewed, or unwinding behind the scenes. He always had a cigar in tow, showcasing his gritty and no-nonsense character. He did not just smoke casually. He fully embraced it as a key element of his lifestyle. As the years went by, his habit of smoking led to a deep, weathered voice that added to the appeal of his storytelling. Despite this, age started to reveal the health issues caused by years of smoking. Number 6. Dottie West. Dottie West came into the world in McMinnville, Tennessee on October 11, 1932. Despite facing financial hardships in her youth, music became her refuge. Upon relocating to Nashville, she paved her path in the predominantly male country music scene, breaking barriers as one of the early female pioneers in the industry. Through hits such as Here Comes My Baby and Country Sunshine, she solidified her status as a trailblazing female figure in the realm of country music. West was known to be a frequent smoker, much like other artists during her era. Cigarettes were always by her side, whether she was in the studio, traveling, or relaxing at home. The pressures of touring and managing her career probably encouraged her smoking habit, as it provided a way for her to de-stress. Unfortunately, this long-term smoking had consequences for her voice, causing it to develop a rougher tone compared to its original clarity. In her later years, she faced health issues from smoking, but that was not the only challenge she faced. Personal and financial difficulties dominated her later life, yet she continued to be adored in the world of country music. Number 5. Garth Brooks. Garth Brooks entered the world on February 7, 1962, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He was raised in a nurturing, middle-class household, where he showed talent in both music and athletics. Following his years in higher education, he delved into the realm of country music, fusing classic country sounds with elements of rock and pop. By the start of the 1990s, he had risen to fame as one of the highest-selling musicians in history, with popular tracks such as Friends in Low Places and The Thunder Rolls. In contrast to the traditional country icons who were known for their smoking habits, Brooks never developed a cigarette addiction. Although he has been seen smoking cigars in various photos, he views it more as a luxury than a regular routine, usually indulging during special events or when taking a break. While smoking cigars occasionally, in contrast to cigarettes, has not had a major impact on his singing voice. While he may not indulge in heavy smoking, cigars play a role in enhancing his superstar persona. Number 4. George Jones. George Jones entered this world on September 12, 1931, in Saratoga, Texas. Coming from a modest background, he discovered comfort in the melodies of gospel and country songs during his formative years. Demonstrating a deep passion for music since his youth, he could be found strumming his guitar on street corners for spare change as a teenager. With the arrival of the 1950s, his music career skyrocketed thanks to chart toppers like White Lightning and She Thinks I Still Care, solidifying his status as a revered figure in the realm of country music. Jones had a unique voice that was smooth yet rugged, brimming with raw emotion. However, years of heavy smoking took a toll on his health. It was rare to see him without a cigarette in hand, and the negative effects became more prominent as he grew older. His smoking habits led to serious health issues such as respiratory problems and emphysema, which made it challenging for him to continue performing. Despite facing these challenges, he persisted in recording and performing until his passing in 2013. While smoking may not have been the sole cause of his health decline, it certainly played a significant role. Number 3. Hank Williams Sr. Hank Williams Sr. made his debut on September 17, 1923, in Mount Olive, Alabama, coming from humble beginnings. Exposed to country music early on, he began strumming the guitar as a youngster. As a teenager, he showcased his talents on nearby radio stations before securing a recording contract that propelled him to stardom. His compositions, such as Your Cheatin' Heart and I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry, depicted themes of heartache and hardship, solidifying his status as a beloved figure in the realm of country music. Williams lived a fast-paced life filled with heavy drinking, struggles with chronic pain, and constant smoking. During the 1940s and early 1950s, smoking was a common habit that he indulged in frequently. His voice was significantly affected by his constant smoking, giving it a raspy and aged quality. Despite his declining health, Williams continued to push himself to perform, determined to leave his mark. Unfortunately, he passed away at the young age of 29 in 1953, but not before solidifying his status as a country music legend. While smoking did not directly cause his death, it certainly played a role in his overall decline. Number 2. Patsy Cline. Patsy Cline was born on September 8, 1932 in Winchester, Virginia. Since she was young, her singing skills were evident, and she began to gain recognition in the local music scene. As the 1950s came to a close, Patsy Cline became a prominent figure in country music, capturing the hearts of audiences nationwide with chart-topping songs like Crazy and I Fall to Pieces. Known for her distinctively powerful and silky voice, she became a celebrated icon among female country vocalists of that era. Similar to many artists from her time, Cline was frequently seen smoking a cigarette. Smoking was a norm in the entertainment industry, and she partook in it regularly. Though it did not impact her voice initially, her consistent smoking eventually had negative effects on her health. As she aged, her voice started to exhibit slight signs of strain, yet she continued to deliver captivating performances. Tragically, her career was cut short when she perished in a plane crash at the young age of 30 in 1963. Although smoking wasn't the direct cause of her death, it was a prominent aspect of her daily routine. Despite the potential negative impact of her habits on her health, her legacy as one of the top voices in country music endures. However, the top on our list has a long history of smoking, but did she persevere? Number 1. Loretta Lynn.
Well, I've been watching the farmers now for about 5 or 6 years, and I've watched them lose their homes, and some of them are friends.
Loretta Lynn entered the world on April 14, 1932, in Butcher Hollow, Kentucky. Raised in a family involved in coal mining, she tied the knot at a young age and became a mother before launching her music career. Amidst the difficulties of being a young mother, she followed her love for singing, releasing her debut hit, I'm a Honky Tonk Girl, in the early 1960s. With chart toppers like Coal Miner's Daughter and You Ain't Woman Enough, her career took off, solidifying her status as one of the most impactful female artists in country music history. In her youth, Lynn was a smoker, a common trait among musicians of her era. However, with age, she distanced herself from this habit, possibly due to concerns about her health or a change in lifestyle that led her to abandon smoking, unlike many of her fellow artists. While smoking did not appear to have a major impact on her singing voice, it may have contributed to some of the health issues she faced later in life. By quitting smoking, Lynn was able to sustain her iconic voice for many years, outlasting some of her peers in the music industry. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.